Funding for this edition of State of Affairs with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Wells Fargo. Summit City MD, a provider of primary, specialty, and urgent care. New Jersey Sharing Network. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Kessler Foundation. And by the Adler Aphasia Center, enriching the lives of people with aphasia, their families, and communities. Promotional support provided by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network. And by AM 970 The Answer.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato, coming to you remotely with a whole range of important conversations. Hopefully we will be in the studio very soon. But right now we're joined by Patrick Dunican, who is Chairman and Managing Director of Gibbons P.C. Good to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you, Steve. Thanks for having me on again.
I recognize you are in the boardroom right now at Gibbons. I've done leadership academy work there, training. You're there, all of your people, part of your people, who's there right now?
Oh, no. This is a very slow, phased reopening. Under Governor Murphy's Executive Order 107, lawyers were deemed essential, but if you could have your people work remotely, you were asked to do so. So we've had our people home since March 13th, a full week before the executive order kicked in. Our Chief Technology Officer, who's the best in the world, Mike Aginski, had gotten us up to the ability to work remotely right away. Between laptops and software program called Citrix, people could log in immediately the following week, which happened to be St. Patrick's Week, which is a big deal here at the Gibbons
Law Firm. You and a lot of other folks, right?
So we were up and running that week, starting March 13th. We had a couple of issues in the past, like a fire that knocked out our entire HVAC system in 2007. Then, of course, we had the recession in 2008, 2009. Then we had Superstorm Sandy in 2012, which knocked us out of our New York office, our New Jersey office. So we needed a resiliency plan, which Michael put together for us, and June Inderweiss, who you know, our executive director. We implemented it right away, and we were up and running seamlessly that first week. And we've been remote ever since, with our reopening plans starting last week, where only about 20 of our 200 lawyers are in the office with appropriate social distancing, masks. All the common areas have been closed. There's tape on every floor directing you where to go. All the bathrooms now have been isolated to one person with a sign indicating vacant or occupied. The pantries are out of order. There's no coffee. There's no refrigerator. There's no ice machine.
Right.
We're keeping people in their office because of the admonition from the CDC and the health authorities regarding being inside, indoors. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue to do this, Steve, for 10 weeks. It's a 10-week reopening plan, gradual, slow reopening.
Let's put this in perspective, because we are taping on the 16th of June. As everyone knows, you see the date on the screen. We never try to hide when we're taping. This will be seen after. So Patrick's description is as of the 16th of June. However, there's a bigger picture issue, not a bigger picture issue, but I want to get into this. The legal profession is changing dramatically because of COVID, Patrick Dunican?
I think it was going to come someday, but this pandemic served as a catalyst for real fundamental change going forward. And that, I guess you're alluding to the fact that law offices are not going to need to be as big as they've been in the past. You're going to have conference centers, and you're going to have perhaps workspaces but we've proven over the course of the past 3 months that we can do this remotely.
Without missing a beat.
Without missing a beat. Our lawyers are working, the phones, they're online, they do their Zoom calls like everybody else. But then also, we've learned to adjust to taking depositions online, remotely. Some of our younger folks are real good technology-wise, where they can post the documents onto the computer screen while the other lawyers are taking the deposition, asking the questions. Now, that's not to say that we're not being hurt by this pandemic, the legal industry. Of course, work has slowed down necessarily. The courts are basically closed right now with a very slow, gradual reopening plan for them. So you don't have the motion practice that you had in the past. You don't have the settlement conferences or the scheduling conferences in person. Some of that has been moved remotely, but not all of it is there yet. There's still growing pains right now.
Stay on that, Patrick. By the way, you
Sure.
can catch Patrick on our sister program, Lessons in Leadership. We're doing a whole conversation with Patrick on leadership, but I'm curious about this on the judicial side. Patrick, are there more settlements, out-of-court settlements being made because of COVID-19 because you're not in court?
Well, it's a mixed bag, Steve, and it's on a case-by-case basis. So, for example, a lot of defense lawyers like us at Gibbons use discovery to try to get to a good settlement for all parties, okay? A lot of that discovery has slowed down because lawyers, plaintiffs' lawyers, defense lawyers are reluctant to do things differently. So they don't want to have a deposition of their client because they can't meet their client to prepare that witness, okay? So that may not happen, right? There may not be the site inspection that's required to get information to produce a settlement. So while some people are probably in need of whatever fee that they're going to try to get, contingency fee or otherwise, that would cause cases to settle. But I wouldn't want to accuse anyone of putting their client's interests, below their own.
It's a factor. And speaking of factors, you talked about being hurt. And the reality is, Patrick and I have had a fair number of offline conversations. We talk about leadership all the time. I'm doing leadership development there, work and the academy, leadership academy at Gibbons, but also the financial piece. Gibbons is a big contributor to a lot of organizations, not-for-profits and others, including those of us in public broadcasting. So my question is, how do you do triage? How do you prioritize how you continue to give to the community when you're trying to keep your books in the black?
It's a great question, Steve. So we shut down all sponsorships and all charitable giving as of March 13th, all right? But the need is still out there. The need is still extant. So I want to tell you about something that we're doing here right now. And that is, for many years, we've participated in the Battle of the Barristers, which is a charity softball tournament started by my partner, Mike Griffinger, and Don Robinson from the Robinson firm 35 years ago. Well, the Fresh Air Fund is not going to be sending kids to camps this summer, but the need, especially for the special needs kids, to go to virtual camp is still extant, right? So last week, we put out a call to our lawyers and our staff to have a virtual Jeans Day this coming Friday. And we've asked them, by the way, we gave them off as well for Juneteenth. And we asked them to wear jeans like they would in the office, or if they're on vacation, to wear a bathing suit, or if they put on the quarantine 15 to wear stretch pants, but to donate to this Fresh Air Fund charity virtually, and like we've always done every month, a Jeans Day for charity.
How'd it do?
Well, I agreed to match it personally, because I thought that the need was still important, and Mike Griffinger agreed to match my match. So every dollar going to the Fresh Air Fund would be worth $3. So
that's awesome.
It turns out that either my people got really generous or they really want to stick it to me, because as of right now, we've raised $5,000 as of today, with a few more days left, So right now, the gift to the Fresh Air Fund, or the donation, is going to be in excess of $15,000, which will
That's
be the
awesome.
biggest gift we've ever given.
So,
Yeah.
so again, there's a need that continues. You find different ways of giving. But again, you got to watch that bottom line. By the way, I want to remind folks, check out Patrick on our Lessons in Leadership program, talking about, again, we talk about how to manage your budget, how to keep your people motivated, how to make tough decisions if you have to lay off people, cut salaries, do all kinds of things, but lead without people seeing you panicking. Patrick, I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being with us. Again, I recognize that conference room. Be safe and be well, my friend.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
I'm Steve Adubato. I'll be right back.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Welcome back, folks. We are now joined by the president of Seton Hall University, Dr. Joseph Nyre. Good to see you, Doctor.
Great to be with you, Steve.
That's an awesome background behind you. We love it.
It's an awesome campus.
That's right. Yes, let's speak about the campus. Fall 2020, Seton Hall has a plan. Some people have called it a national model, potentially. What is the plan for students, faculty, everyone at the Seton Hall community for fall 2020?
Well, we recognize that how the virus rolls out for the remainder of the summer will drive many of our behaviors. But Steve, we had 140 faculty and staff and administrators and students planning on teams to map out the fall. And in short, what we've developed is a high flex option for students. We have some students from other states, from around the globe, that may not be able to return to campus for family reasons, for health reasons. We want to accommodate them. But the majority of our students, 85+%, want to be back on campus in the fall. And what we've done is developed a teaching modality. We're in the process of retrofitting every single classroom that will allow our students to learn remotely or in person on campus. We're reducing density in our classrooms, reducing density in our residence halls, modifying our dining spaces, and ensuring that we're prepared for how students can return in the fall to a healthy and safe environment.
You know, Dr. Nyre, Seton Hall University, one of the several institutions of higher learning that we partner with, and I've gotten different responses from different presidents, different universities and colleges. University life, higher ed life changed forever. Fair to say, no matter what happens with COVID-19.
No doubt about it. Absolutely true.
Because
we were already in a period of disruption. We were in a period of change. About every 50 years, higher ed, the higher education sector, changes dramatically. And it's been over 75 years since our last change, which was the GI Bill after World War II that changed higher education forever.
In the 1940s.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. All of these GIs came back and had access to higher education, and the system changed dramatically, almost overnight. And we were in a period of disruption before the pandemic. The cost of higher ed, the regulatory expenses, the demographic shift in the Northeast and the Midwest, the change in platform delivery, the move to online, all of these elements were coming together that were forcing universities through a period of disruption. And then the pandemic came ashore. And it's been like a bright light and an accelerator. It's been a bright light on cracks and fissures in every sector of our economy, from Wall Street to Main Street, from healthcare to supply chain, but also higher ed. It's a bright light on any crack or fissure that was pre-existing. And it's acted as an accelerant for the change in higher education. I often say that it's easier to go back and change the course of history than it is to change a history course. That's changed overnight. We've seen the acceleration in higher ed. Most universities across the country flipped a switch, and within 2 to 3 days, or all within a period of 10 days, had gone remote learning for the health and well-being of their students and faculty. But this has changed higher ed forever.
You know, the other piece of this equation, and we'll talk about beyond the academics, is the sports side. Let me disclose that in addition to teaching at Seton Hall at the Buccino Leadership Institute, great challenging group of students up there, I'm a Seton Hall University basketball fan. You and I have seen each other at many games. As soon as you were announced, you were at those games at the Prudential Center. A big part of the Seton Hall story is sports, involves sports. What do we know and what don't we know about I know there are a lot of sports, but I'm just talking men's basketball right now. What do we know?
Well, we know that our season was cut short. We know that college basketball, in partnership with the NBA, were very early responders to the pandemic. I don't think any of us would have thought that the NBA or college sports were going to set national health policy, but those two endeavors, because it was conference tournament time, demonstrated what was right, and they moved before there was guidance to reduce density and to stop play. Now, how we resume play is the big question. We're seeing early experiments right now. We're seeing early experiments with what baseball is trying to do. We've seen college football come back to voluntary practices across the country. We're seeing a rise in the cases in the southern states, in small outbreaks on campuses that have brought athletes back. So it's unfolding right now how best to manage and move forward.
Right.
We're hopeful about the fall and what it means for college basketball. And we were on a call the other day with the NCAA, with Mark Emmert, talking about March Madness or maybe April Madness. But there's a strong inclination to be back on the court and be playing basketball come basketball season.
Let me just clarify for folks, we are taping this on the 16th of June. It's always in the corner of your screen. You see it. It will be seen after that. So remember, this is a snapshot in time. Neither Dr. Nyre nor myself or anyone else can predict the future, but help people understand this. Seton Hall University basketball is a big deal on a lot of levels, but connect it beyond sports, beyond sometimes packed houses at the Prudential Center, to the academic side of the equation. There's a correlation, is there not?
There is. We know, and it's been tracked very closely across higher ed, that when your athletic teams are accelerating, you often see your applications accelerate and the quality of your applications accelerate. For the last 2 years in a row, Seton Hall has brought in its largest and most qualified freshman classes in its 165-year history. It's a testament to the faculty, it's a testament to the university, and we also know that athletics plays a role in opening the doors and introducing Seton Hall across the country or around the globe to many people who are following college athletics.
One more quick question here in the minute we have left. By the way, if you hear a dog barking, it's ours. It's not Dr. Nyre's up on campus. That's what happens with remote recording. Quick question on this. Because I've taught remotely and in person at your campus, others, real quick, how are we training and coaching professors to teach more effectively remotely?
So part of our plan is we have an intensive summer seminar series to help our faculty learn the new technology that we're installing in all of the classrooms as we speak. And we know as a sector, as a system, higher education has to do a better job preparing our faculty for remote and online learning. I've said to my children, there may never be another snow day for you, because we demonstrated that there can be something gleaned from the academic day. And we know that as we come out of the pandemic and as the clouds begin to part, that our capacity to ensure this technology advances learning is central to our mission. So training faculty, absolutely part of the solution.
We want to thank Dr. Joseph Nyre, president of Seton Hall University. We appreciate you joining us. All the best to the community, the family at Seton Hall. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Welcome back, folks. Again, producing remotely, we're honored to be joined once again. Last time he was in the studio, now he's with us remotely. Bill Sproule. William Sproule is Executive Secretary Treasurer, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve, and thanks for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. Bill, do us a favor. Union carpenters, most significant impact on union carpenters of COVID-19?
I gotta say, Steve, the work opportunities, the uncertainty of being able to go to a workplace that was safe, it's had a devastating effect on our membership, as well as their ability to earn a paycheck, as well as have their benefits paid. while this pandemic is happening. So it's a combination of things, almost a domino effect, if you will.
You know, it's interesting, Joe. We had Joe Fiordaliso, the president of the BPU, on recently, and we were talking about renewable energy and the fact that COVID-19 hasn't stopped the effort to pursue cleaner energy, if you will. Renewable energy, fossil fuel emissions, and union carpenters make the connection.
Oh, the connection there is big. With the renewable energy, offshore wind, for instance, and the executive order and the potential contracts that are going to be off the shores of New Jersey, those turbines now are actually 900 feet tall, I understand. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. They're going to be 12 megawatt turbines. So for our organization, the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners, we'll be heavily involved in the logistical part of just getting the equipment and the materials out to sea, as well as the placement of the foundation work. That work falls under the jurisdiction of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners, Pile Drivers and Dock Builders Division. So those members that belong to our organization are trained in all that type of foundation work that happens along our seaboard, as well as out at sea where these installations will be. When it comes to the rest of the work, which is the actual tower and the turbines and the blades, there's several other trades involved, but also part of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners is a trade called the millwrights.
What is it, millwrights?
Millwrights, yes, sir. And the millwrights are a very unique classification of trade. They are precision type machinists. They do precision bolting, precision rigging, things of that nature. So you'll find millwrights working in nuclear power plants, warehouse distribution centers with conveyor systems and things of that nature, all kinds of mechanical components, including turbines. You know, with the nuclear power plants, they have turbines. And obviously with the wind turbines, the millwrights are heavily involved in the actual erection and setting up of those systems, along with other crafts as well. You'll have iron workers, operating engineers, electricians, etc.
Real quick, Bill, sorry for interrupting. Work has not stopped on those initiatives amidst COVID-19?
No, those initiatives keep going. The procurement process, as well as the approval processes, just continue to move forward, it seems. I believe I was involved in a few things earlier today, but I did get some calls from some colleagues, as well as a call from the governor's office that there was going to be an announcement about a port that was going to be constructed down in Salem County to actually support the offshore wind operation off the coast of New Jersey, as well as possibly support the other nearby states that are going to have similar types of initiatives.
By the way, I want to clarify, we're taping on the 16th of June. A lot of things will be happening around that. The Carpenters, by the way, the Regional Council of Carpenters, 8 states, correct, Bill?
We're actually 6 states. The Eastern Atlantic is 6 states, the District of Columbia, and as I mentioned earlier, we now have Puerto Rico as a new territory where we're basically starting from scratch down there.
Got it. By the Carpenters, one of the supporters of what we do. Question on this. Give us a short version of this in the time we have. The Carpenters are very much involved in building emergency facilities, correct?
Yes, sir.
At hospitals?
Well, yes. At hospitals, you have to imagine that there was floors that needed to be converted over to COVID-19 floors that may not had originally been set up in that fashion. So, and then you needed some logistical things happening, with the intake of so many patients. So there was work being done at hospitals. There was also temporary testing facilities that were constructed at locations as well as hospitals. And then we had the overflow facilities that, for instance, the Atlantic City Convention Center, the Convention Center up in Edison, and some of the other larger facilities where, thank God, all those beds did not need to be used.
Bill, we got a minute left, real quick. Best description you can give of keeping union carpenters safe, as safe as possible when they're out there. Go ahead. What's being done?
Steve, we developed in late March, early April, a COVID-19 preparedness qualification. And actually, one of my directors of curriculum with our training fund, the Northeast Training Fund, he's actually based in the Edison Training Center, Robert Smith, came to me with an idea. And there was so much information coming out from the CDC, from OSHA, from contractors associations on how to work safely in this environment, that we put together like a 45-slide qualification educational test.
Some of the keys are?
It's like a 45-slide PowerPoint, but it gives you the basics on how to be safe, keep your coworkers safe, and make sure that you return safe home every night and keep your family safe while you're out working with this dangerous disease that's amongst the general public. And we've got thousands of members that have taken this already, and we continue to push our members and our apprentices to continue to get this qualification as one of their credentials.
Bill Sproule, I want to thank you for joining us. To you and your men and women out there and in the offices, stay safe and be well. Thanks so much, Bill.
Thank you, Steve. Have a great day and be safe. Good to see you.
Same here. I'm Steve Adubato. Catch you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Hackensack Meridian Health, Wells Fargo, Summit City MD, New Jersey Sharing Network, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Kessler Foundation, and by the Adler Aphasia Center. Promotional support provided by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, and by AM 970 The Answer.
Hello, this is Bob Garrett, CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health. As we see a downward trend in COVID-19 patients, we must continue to take measures to promote good health with safety at the forefront. We've created designated areas for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. We're monitoring the temperature of all patients, visitors, and team members. And we're thoroughly cleaning and sanitizing all facilities. It is safe to come back and get the health care you need. Visit hackensackmeridianhealth.org/getcarenow.